Throughout the pages of the Bible, we find countless references to animals: lions, doves, serpents, lambs. But curiously, cats are never directly mentioned. Some might take this as a sign of insignificance. But what if this absence actually points to something deeper, more hidden? To uncover the mystery, we must look beyond the surface, into the spiritual traditions that surrounded biblical cultures. In ancient Egypt, cats weren't just pets. They were guardians of the unseen, often depicted beside gods and pharaohs, acting as divine protectors against evil forces. The Egyptians believed cats could walk between worlds, the visible and the invisible, carrying wisdom from realms we can't fully understand. This reverence didn't die in the sands of time. In early Jewish mysticism, especially within the teachings of Kabbalah, animals that gravitate toward us are thought to carry a specific spiritual frequency. They aren't random visitors, they're messengers. When a cat chooses you, it might be recognizing a vibration in your soul, one that calls out silently, asking to be seen. Even early Christian monks shared similar beliefs. In the deserts of Syria and Egypt, stories were told of cats that lived among the monks, not simply for companionship, but because they were drawn to the presence of divine contemplation. These animals seemed to know when someone was praying, grieving, or silently battling darkness. And maybe that's not just ancient folklore. There are people today who say their cat appears exactly when they begin to pray, or when they're overcome by sadness. Some say their cat stares directly into their eyes during moments of despair, as if seeing past the physical and into the soul. Could be that cats are drawn not to our homes, but to our hearts? When seen through this lens, the absence of cats in Scripture doesn't diminish their spiritual role. Instead, it invites us to seek answers not in words, but in symbols and presence in connection. Maybe God didn't write about cats because their message isn't meant to be read. It's meant to be felt. And when a cat enters your life without warning, it could mean a deeper story is already unfolding. There's something undeniably mysterious about cats. They move in silence, observe without judgment, and seem to know things they shouldn't. But what if this wasn't just instinct? What if it was spiritual? Many cultures believe that cats are natural energy absorbers, creatures that don't just sense the unseen, but interact with it. It's said that a cat will always find the energetic hot spots in a room, places filled with tension, pain, or emotional residue. And more often than not, they'll sit right on it. Have you ever noticed a cat curling up on your chest, right when you're going through something? Or laying on your stomach when you're stressed or sick? These aren't random acts of affection. They may be acts of spiritual service. Cats are thought to absorb emotional energy, drawing in pain, anxiety, and even spiritual heaviness. They transmute it, not by force, but by presence. In a way, they act as filters between your soul and the invisible storms around you. One woman shared that during a deep depression, her cat would lie across her chest every single night, purring softly. It never failed. And years later, she realized that cat came into her life at the exact moment she was thinking of giving up. "He saved me without ever saying a word," she said. Maybe that was the point. Even in energetic healing practices like Reiki, cats are often seen as allies. Healers claim that cats stabilize the vibration of a room. They notice shifts in the energy field before humans do. Some even believe that when a cat purrs against your body, it's realigning your internal balance. But cats don't just heal, they protect. Many stories tell cats staring at empty corners, following something with their eyes that we can't see. Some people report their cat growling or suddenly becoming alert, only for that moment to coincide with a feeling of fear or an invisible presence. It's believed that cats can see into spiritual realms, acting as silent sentinels against forces that wish to disturb your peace. You may not always see what your cat sees, but your cat sees what's trying to reach you. And that's not all. They also serve as emotional mirrors. When your energy is off, they may avoid you. When you're aligned, they get closer. They move with your vibration, not in judgment, but in reflection. In silence, they heal. In presence, they protect. Perhaps God doesn't always send a sermon or a sign in the sky. Sometimes he sends a soft paw, a quiet stare, and a purr that reaches the parts of you that words never could. Your cat might be doing more than keeping you company. It might be shielding your soul from what you can't name. Sometimes What feels like a simple moment, a stray cat appearing at your door or a kitten crossing your path, carries a meaning far deeper than we realize. In the silence between coincidences, God often whispers. There's a story of a woman who was grieving the loss of her mother. One night, overwhelmed by sadness, she prayed with tears in her eyes, asking God for a sign that she wasn't alone. The next morning, a small, quiet cat was curled up on her doorstep. It had never been there before. It didn't leave. It just stayed, day after day, sleeping beside her, following her gently, silently comforting her. She named the cat Grace. When people say that God speaks through his creation, it doesn't always mean thunder or lightning. Sometimes he sends us reminders wrapped in fur and stillness, messengers who don't speak but understand. The Bible tells us in Romans 1 verse 20 that God's invisible qualities are clearly seen, being understood from what he has made. That includes animals. That includes moments. That includes the exact instant your life intersected with a creature that seemed to choose you for no reason. But what if it wasn't for no reason at all? In many spiritual traditions, animals appear as guides during moments of transformation. The cat, in particular, is seen as a symbol of intuition, spiritual awareness, and divine timing. Its arrival often marks a turning point, a shift from one spiritual state to another. People don't just find cats. Cats find them. And when they do, it's usually exactly when you need to feel seen by something beyond this world. Even in Christian mysticism, there's a belief that God uses the humble and the hidden to deliver profound messages. Think of Elijah, who didn't hear God in the wind or the fire or the earthquake, but in a gentle whisper. Maybe, in your case, that whisper came with pause. And if you've ever felt that a cat appeared out of nowhere and simply wouldn't leave you, that's not an accident. That might be a response, a divine answer to a prayer you didn't even speak out loud. Cats have a way of entering broken spaces and simply staying. They don't try to fix you. They don't ask you to change. They just sit with you, present, patient, and powerful in their stillness. And in that presence, healing begins. So, if a cat has come into your life, especially during moments of loss, confusion, or transition, pay attention. You might be experiencing more than a coincidence. You might be part of a divine encounter, one chosen specifically for you. Because sometimes, when the soul is too tired to hear words, God sends a messenger that doesn't speak, but understands everything. When a cat chooses to be near you, it's not random, and how it behaves around you might reveal even more than you think. Have you noticed your cat always sleeping on your chest, especially near your heart? Spiritually, the chest is seen as the center of emotional energy, the seat of love, grief, and spiritual longing. A cat lying there may be doing more than seeking warmth. It could be responding to an invisible pain within you, offering its silent healing presence where it's needed most. Cats don't just go where it's comfortable. They go where they're called. If your cat follows you from room to room, quietly watching your steps, it might be acting as a guardian. In spiritual symbolism, this behavior is often linked to guides assigned to walk beside us during critical periods, grief, transition, or awakening. The cat becomes more than a companion. It becomes a witness to your journey. On the other hand, if your cat avoids certain spaces, pausing at the doorway or refusing to enter, it may be sensing a spiritual imbalance in that area, what some call heavy energy. Just as they seek peace, they instinctively avoid what disrupts it. But perhaps the most mysterious behavior is when a cat stares into empty space. You've seen it, those long, intense gazes into corners, ceilings, or the middle of the room. Many believe cats are attuned to spiritual activity. What looks like nothing to us may actually be a subtle shift in energy, a spiritual presence, or even a protective response to something beyond our perception. They see what we're not yet ready to see. And then there are the cats who appear suddenly, stay for a season, and vanish. These fleeting visitors often leave a lasting impact. They show up when you're lost, offer silent companionship, and disappear once the lesson or healing is complete. Some call it chance. Others call it spiritual timing. Whatever behavior, clingy or distant, calm or intense, it all carries meaning. Because cats don't communicate through words. They communicate through energy, presence, and stillness. And sometimes, their strange behaviors aren't strange at all. They're messages waiting for your soul to understand. Maybe your cat didn't just wander into your life. Maybe it was sent. Not all messengers arrive with trumpets or bright lights. Some come quietly, with soft paws and steady eyes. They ask for nothing. They demand no change. They simply stay, present, aware, and unwavering in their silent companionship. In a world full of noise, cats teach us something divine. That presence is healing. That silence can be sacred. And that sometimes God whispers through those who never speak. So if you've ever felt seen by a cat, understood without words, or comforted in your darkest hour by their quiet closeness, don't ignore that. You were chosen, not by coincidence, but by divine alignment. And maybe, just maybe, the next time your cat curls beside you or stares deep into your soul, you'll feel it too. Not just the warmth of their body, but the touch of something holy. If this message resonated with your heart, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you've ever experienced something unexplainable with your cat, whether healing, protection, or presence, tell us your story in the comments. Your words might be the sign someone else is desperately waiting for.